What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe. I am your host, KeKe Chanel, author, lifestyle blogger, writing coach, as well as life coach. Tonight, I have a special guest. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. We're going to be talking about a lot of life issues. Live, apply, lead. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let me go ahead and bring my guest in. I always like to let them introduce themselves. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Here we go. All right. How are you tonight, sir?
I am good. How are you?
I hear that echo.
I do too.
Let me turn my volume down. All right, guys, tell me if it's better. Do you hear echo on our end? I think that's a little better. But before we get started, I always like to do a mental check-in just to see how you're doing. How has everything been doing with this pandemic? You as being a black man in this country that we live in. How are you doing, sir? How has everything been going for you?
Well, I think everybody going through something in this pandemic. It's just one of those ordeals where it is. You got to adjust and kind of figure out the best way to approach things. Without excuses. Because before the pandemic, we had more reasons to get out and do different things, but we also found reasons not to do things. So I'm one of those people that's like a self-motivator, so I don't struggle with that much. But, I kind of, I'm doing well. My mindset's pretty good. My kids are happy. I'm happy.
Right, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you are doing well. We're going to make this happen one way or another, because I hear, does someone have a cell phone on too? No. What about now? I just muted my computer to see if that helps. You still can hear me on both ends?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're going to move on. We're going to move on because, we always have technical difficulties. Okay, somebody said it's better. All right, we always want better instead of, yes, better. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, fixed it. Good. Okay, so David.
Yeah.
I like to give my guests the opportunity to tell everyone who they are and what they do. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. So you just tell everybody who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I am from Detroit, Michigan. I am an entrepreneur. I've been working in business for about 17 years. Got an extensive background in hospitality, but, I decided to, devote my time to me, and with that, everything I've learned over the years, as far as, customer service, things like that, I've said, it's time for me to stop investing in other people's businesses and start investing in myself. So I just took the ultimate risk and just jumping out there and doing everything that I love to do. So starting out with music, and then, kind of moved over to, real estate, and then I just kind of just grew from there. So anything business, I kind of like sink my teeth into and kind of grow from there. So.
Awesome. And we all about that entrepreneurship. So our topic for discussion is live, apply, and lead. And I know we'll get into like your upcoming project and stuff in a little bit, but I want to talk about being a leader. Like, what does being a good leader embodies to you?
Oh, so so to correct you is learn, apply, lead.
Yeah, I said it because I got it written the right way. Got it written the right way, guys. Learn, apply, lead. I just said it wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's just we get over that.
Right. So yeah, back to my question. Go ahead and answer that for me.
So with the mindset of a learn, apply, lead, like I said, throughout the years I've been in the position where I took in a lot from every experience, every opportunity, learning from, the position I was in, starting from the bottom and just working my way to where I am right now. Any situation I've ever found myself in, I studied. I've always studied. So because I've always looked at study as a form of evolution. The only way you can ever get better is if you dedicate the time to learn. Absolutely. So for me, I took the time out to learn any business I decided I wanted to step into. It didn't matter, if I was, one of my businesses, I had a barbershop, and, yeah, I could cut hair, but I wasn't going to go get a license for it. So in order for me to do the business, I had to kind of like dive into it, learn everything about it, how to get the license and everything else, and what it takes to run that business. So for me, that's just one of the examples I can give. I gave my all to that from the educational point of view, learned everything I could. I applied it. I was able to have that business for 3 years before I sold it. And then, I brought others into the venture as well. So
Right.
that's the lead aspect. So
Mm-hmm.
teaching people what I've learned, the best way to go about it is trial and error. You can't be a good example if you've never been through it.
Right.
So I've always been the type of person to say, hey, I'm going to step out here. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to see where it goes. If it works, I'm going to show you how to do it next. And that's something that can, lead people to, start their own ventures, whether it's something as small as a barbershop or as large as a digital marketing firm. Being able to show them how to do things, how to approach it, how not to be afraid. That's just one of the things I pride myself in doing, because as an entrepreneur, I'm not only an entrepreneur, I want to be a motivator and a teacher as well.
Absolutely.
So I know that I have the mindset and the tools to provide that to people. So that's why I put myself in those positions to where it is I do the hard work, show people how it's done, and we can all get out there and win.
Right. And in order to be a good leader, would you say that you have to know how to lead?
See, leading is it's one of those funny things. It's like, you know, some people naturally have the ability to lead,
Mhm.
and some people they kind of like they're kind of thrust into it. I've been on both sides of it, where it is, me, I've always had the ability to lead, to adjust, but also I've been in situations where it is I'm following somebody else's lead, but they can't do anything, so they take a step back and I have to step forward.
Mm. So you've
So
always been pushed into that leadership role.
absolutely. So, it doesn't matter, what I was doing. Because, when I was working in hospitality, I started out as a bellman, making $4.65 an hour. So, and I wanted to learn how to do more. So I put myself in a position to pick the brains of everybody in that industry, from other bellmen or valet drivers all the way up to the general manager. When
Right.
I left that industry with no degree, when I left that industry as a general manager. So, and that was over a 15-year period, which is unheard of for a bellman with no degree to finish his 15-year career as a general manager. But I always applied myself, no excuses.
No excuse. And that's that word apply. And I also think that being a good learner as well as a leader, and with the ability of applying it, you have to have that mindset to want that. So
Yeah,
mindset
absolutely.
plays a big part in the whole learn, apply, and lead concept that
Hmm.
you have going on. What would you tell someone to do on a daily basis to make sure they're in a good mind space, like headspace, and change their mindset to be a better person? Because I believe
So,
that we always want to strive to be better today. I mean, tomorrow
right.
than we yesterday. So what would you say to someone?
It all starts with being, because the hardest thing for people is motivation.
Mhm.
Like find a way to connect and click with that motivation.
Right.
you know, Waking up sometimes for people is the hardest thing, because they don't know what they want to do as soon as they get up. They
Right.
find themselves in a position where it's like, okay, oh man, I got to get up, I got to go to work. But you got to think about what's at the end of the road.
Hmm.
And for me, like I said, I'm a self starter. So I think about where I want to be in the next 10 years, and I kind of work towards that. And my motivators are my children. You got to attach yourself to a motivation. Why do you get up every day? What do you want to do that's going to, drive you to want to be better? I like challenges.
Right.
So I challenge myself every single day. So you have to be a person that finds something to latch onto that's a motivator. You need an anchor. Everybody needs an anchor.
Hmm.
So if you don't have that anchor, if you're not trying to make the person in your life happy or make yourself happy, you got to find what your anchor is.
Right.
Because other than that, every time you get up, you're going, oh, I don't want to do this. I hate this. I have to do that. You don't have to do anything.
Hmm.
So if you feel like you have to do something, find something that you like to do. That's your
Right.
anchor. Because a
Absolutely.
lot of people get caught up making these excuses about why they don't want to do something and why they can't get going is because they don't like what they do. So the
Right.
easiest way to fix that, stop what you're doing and figure out what you like to do, and then make the
Absolutely.
changes.
Absolutely. You got to
So,
make have to want to change in order to make
mhm.
that change. And we have a comment right here. It said, I would be interested in hearing about leadership versus mentorship. Like bringing folks up with you, especially younger people, like
Mhm.
sharing the wisdom. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Leadership versus mentorship.
So mentorship, you find yourself having more of a connection with the individuals. Leadership is what you have to do. It
Mm,
doesn't because with leadership, you find yourself, at a job for example, you hold the highest position, and as a leader, there's an expectation that comes along with it. With the mentorship, you want to be in that position. You want to make sure that person wins. Leadership is what you have to do. Either you're paid to do it or there's some level of obligation. At the end of the day, when you punch out, you don't have to really too much worry about it. But mentorship is when you connect with that person personally and you want to see them win. And that's why I tell people that, that kind of goes hand in hand as well, because you can be a great mentor, but to be a great mentor, you got to have leadership qualities.
yes.
So that has to speak for itself. It has to
David,
connect.
I got to give you some snaps because, boy, look, let me tell you, you just gave the best description of the two. I've never heard it broken down like that. Leadership, you have to do it. Mentorship, you want to do it. I love
Mhm.
that. I
Yep.
love that. Not. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had
No,
to
no,
give
no, that's fine.
the aspect. Yes. So, uh, Megan, I hope that helped. I hope that explained a little bit because she said that she wanted to hear about it. Because I feel like we find ourselves sometimes with the crab in the barrel mentality. You don't want
Hmm.
people to get ahead of you, so you pulling them down as
Hmm.
you trying to get pulled up. Pull yourself up.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit about that crabs in a barrel type mentality? I think it's enough to go around for everybody. What would you say, in your opinion, is how, as to why you think people have that type of mentality?
Well, I tell people, remember this: crabs get cooked. So if you find yourself in a position where you're pulling everybody down, and everybody got an option to get out of the pot or get cooked, then you're seeking everybody with you. So what type of leadership is that? What type of fellowship is that? What type of connection is that? What type of teamwork is that? So
None.
you should be trying to push people out of the bucket or the pot or whatever, so
Hmm.
everybody can figure out, okay, the best thing to do next for us to survive this situation is what. You know, that's the mindset. So, I tell people, when you find yourself, in a position with that mindset, the crab in the bucket, worrying about others, you will never ever get to where you got to go, because you're gonna find yourself anchored to the wrong things.
Mm.
It's an automatic loss in that, because if I'm worried about how this person is going to be more successful than me, that means I really don't have anything planned.
Right.
I don't have anything invested in me. I'm
Hmm.
investing all my energy in them. And as you know, I've heard recently the whole statement about they own real estate in my head at that point.
Mm.
So the objective is not to give people the ability to dominate your thoughts. You want to dominate your thoughts. You can't find motivation worrying about how the other person is doing. That's the only time you should really be selfish, is when you're worried about how you can apply yourself to your situation to improve things so you can go back and be the best you for them.
Right. I,
So
I'm writing down stuff because I like to put quotes and stuff the next
yeah.
day of what we talked about. I love that. I have to write them down so I won't lose it because that's some good stuff. And you're right. You can't be. And I look at the crabs in the barrel mentality is
Mm,
if you allow people to pull you up, when you get up there, you can
mm,
reach your hand back down and pull
mm,
them up as well. But if
mm,
everybody's clawing at the same time, no one wins, in my opinion. That's just how I feel about it. It's enough to go around for everyone. And it just
mm,
goes back to learning to be a leader and
mm,
applying what you learn in those two aspects of life
Mm-hmm.
to help someone get to where they need to be or where they want to be or where they don't even think they want to be. Some people just don't have a blueprint or an
Yeah.
anchor, as you put it. Some people just don't have that. So they don't know how to lead, how to
Mm-hmm.
become, a leader, how to
Mm-hmm.
learn from the mistakes that you make. Because I feel like if you don't make mistakes along the way, then how are you going to test your faith? How can you tell someone else what you went through or
Mm-hmm.
how to make it on the other side?
Right.
So that's just how I believe, that's what I believe in. And you did a webinar the other day because this man teaches and everything, guys. So if
Mm-hmm.
you are wanting to learn about starting your own business, opening up a bed and B, it's like a B&B, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
He has so much information. When did you know that this was a part of your purpose? Like helping other business owners become successful in their business.
Mm-hmm. When I start working in hotels,
Ah,
when I start working for other people, because
okay.
it's like, when I stop investing everything I had, because, I can say a lot of the knowledge that I had and I learned along the way, I applied it when I was with those places, and
Mm-hmm,
I've watched them do this. They went up,
mm-hmm,
and I just stayed right here.
mm-hmm,
The promise of being more keeps people in jobs. And I'm not knocking anybody that has a job. Just understand what I'm saying. Anybody that's ever applying for a position in a job, you stay there because you're being promised the next best thing. So if you can give yourself the next best thing outside of that, of someone else's parameters, why not go for it?
mm-hmm.
So it's like this. It's like, do you want to be the crabs in the barrel or the barrel of monkeys? The difference is when you pull out one monkey, you get how many other monkeys attached to it.
Wow.
It's the mentality, because monkeys help each other out. Crabs
Right.
just get in each other's way. That's the difference. So
Monkeys help each other out. Crabs the other way. Wow.
like for me, I discovered that when I got tired of working for other people, and I got tired of applying what I had, my energy, my time, because you dedicate a lot of time to it. Don't get it twisted. When you become an entrepreneur, that working 40 hours a week goes to working 100 hours.
Oh,
you work
no
92,
sleep.
no
No sleep
sleep.
at all.
You see this beard? This is all no sleep. It's
You
dedication.
had to
It
keep it up.
hurts.
What? You laughing at me? You laughing at me? So, what would you say? Because we've all heard it, and I'm not trying to make anything about race, but we've
Mm,
all heard it before that a lot of people in the Black community don't
mm,
like to support each other because they
mm,
feel like it's bad business amongst each other.
mm.
Can you break it down to us a little bit about business etiquette? Business etiquette, like business etiquette 101.
Business
What,
etiquette as far as what?
as far as business etiquette,
Okay.
we not put
Amongst ourselves?
we're not putting black and white on it, but as a
Uh,
business owner and
uh,
successful business owner of multiple
mm,
businesses, and
mm.
you're still doing it, you're helping other people achieve those goals. What would you say the top five business etiquettes practices that every business owner should have or possess?
Every business owner, number one, you want to know how to communicate. That's the basics. Communication can, go hand in hand with the next thing, the ability to problem solve, the ability to want to help, being the third. Fourth thing, just empathy, over sympathy. And five, the the willingness to want to deal with criticism.
Mm. Let's talk about that a little bit. Be,
Okay.
being able to deal with criticism.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the most stagnant thing that us as business owners go through when it comes to criticism?
We get in our own heads.
Mm.
We hear something and we can't get past it. So when you find yourself taking a piece of criticism and you over digest, then you can't move forward. We find ourselves in a position of, like, where it is, okay, this person said that I didn't do a great job. I wonder why they said that. What can I do to be better? Those are questions that you should pose out loud, not in your head. Speak to that person, communication. Ask them how you can fix those things. Ask them how you can improve those things. Put it out in the universe.
Right.
So you can get an answer back. And as long as that communicates, and I'm not sure who believes in the universe and how things communicate, when it translates the way it needs to, then you're able to kind of grow from that experience.
Absolutely.
So growth, it communicates with our frequencies. And then if we move forward and we're able to show that growth, we kind of get back more positive feedback. So if you take negative criticism, you're able to grow from there. Then you're able to kind of, push forward and do different things at that point, because the universe has already received the fact that you're ready to be a great student. So why not brace yourself for positive feedback or growth?
Right. And NBSO says integrity and production. I believe those are two great components to have when you are a business owner too, because if you lack integrity, you'll fall for anything, and you have to be able to be willing to do the work, because if you're not producing anything, what are you selling? What do you want people to buy?
Yeah. I mean, and integrity is a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, when it comes to ethics, there's a lot of people that lack that, integrity, and actually, lack the humility as well. Because if you don't have the integrity, that you should have, you tend to practice some of the shittier habits in business, and people don't want to deal with you, because when you have terrible ethics, and your integrity is zero, it communicates. One person will communicate with 100, especially nowadays.
Right. And if you lack humility, you don't care about your business. You really don't. You accept anything. You start getting bad press for, like, okay, we could go over here by John's because John do this and this and this and that. Whereas Keisha ain't playing around over here. So, and word of mouth travels fast. So 9 times out of people, they may not like the way you run your business if you're firm and you stand on all of these business etiquette terms that we coming up with tonight, but they will patronize your business because they know that they're going to get quality, they're going to get respect, they're going to get someone who has integrity about their business, they're going to get all of the things that you broke down. Empathy, because sometimes we may be in a business and get some life-altering news on our cell phone or whatever. And so some people can pick up on that type of energy. Like, I know that I can pick up on a lot of types of energy. And so if someone is in my space and I'm looking and I'm paying attention, that empathy that I have will, I may say a little small prayer for them. I may be able to say, hey, are you okay? Just be with them in that moment, because people in this day and age, I find it that compassion and empathy are so laxed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's like, I empathize with a lot of people more than I do sympathize, because if I take the time out to over sympathize, then I get sucked into that person's vortex. How do I get out of there? Because then I become emotionally involved. And, for me, I don't want to be emotionally involved in anybody else's stuff, because it gets in the way of my ability to operate at a higher level. Because then their time becomes my time, and it becomes a shared event. And I don't really want that. So I rather empathize with them, where it is I can help them understand certain things. I can be more instrumental and effective to them if I'm showing empathy. Like, okay, I understand. I hate that you're going through this. How can we get you through this? But if I sympathize, I'm in there emotionally, and
like
I can't be. Yeah, we both stuck. We become the crabs in the barrel.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Why, we might need to do a show about empathy versus sympathy. That would be a great show. We could talk a lot about that. I might put that in your ear, so be on the lookout for that. Be on the
Yeah.
lookout for that.
I've been
So
accused of
tell us
being a
about
robot at times.
right. So I know they don't know. I've heard some good things. Tell us
Mhm.
about your new book project.
All right. So the new book that I got that I'm working on right now should be out by the end of this year. It's called Motivation's Blueprint. So it's anything that you need to know as far as, being motivated, how to stay motivated, how to reconnect with your motivation, how to grow that motivation and, thrive in it. Because I think everybody finds himself in a position where they lack motivation and they don't know how to reconnect with it and know how to get themselves jump started to do whatever they want to do. You
Right.
know, I think that was one of the first things I wanted to tackle. On my venture towards writing more books is how to help people connect with their motivation. Now, there's been some challenges I even had myself in this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I was able to pull myself out of the hole because of the things that I wrote down, the things that I had to teach myself. I had to learn how to reconnect with my motivation to do the things that I love to do. So it is much easier to reconnect when you have an idea of how you got there in the first place. So, this is going to help be a roadmap for those who have a hard time, finding their motivation, staying motivated, and, push themselves to the next level. So,
Right. And what does motivation look like to David, to you?
so as I said, motivation, just is me being able to be a self starter, jumpstart myself, push myself to do things that I never thought I can do, put myself in a position where it is I'm doing things that, I never thought I could do. One of the greater forms of motivation to me to me, it's when somebody tell me I can't do something. I love it because I put myself in a position to prove them wrong
Mm-hmm.
100% of the time.
But
And
what would you say to someone who doesn't have that type of mentality though? Because some
well,
of us we don't have that. Well, I'm not one of them because I'm
mm-hmm,
like you. Like you tell me you can't tell me something I can't do, and I'm gonna try my best to do it. And if I don't succeed, it's because I've exhausted all of the possibilities that I can possibly come up with. But
mm-hmm.
some people don't have that. Like that, they need someone to push them, and so when
That's
they have that, they become stuck.
right. That's where the mentorship comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Some people you got to build them up. Some people need help getting to that next step. You have to show them the possibilities. You have to show them, the opportunities. You have to show them what happened when they apply themselves to certain situations. You have to help them. You have to engineer that mindset. Show them, something that's going to trigger something in them that's going to make them want to like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions. One of the bigger questions is like, okay, before you got into this position, what was something that you love to do? Why did you love to do it?
Know your
And when
why.
it, know your why, absolutely. And when you understand that and why, it's so easy to reconnect with that because in that moment you may have an epiphany, like, wow, okay, just because they know their why, it leads
Mm-hmm.
to them going down the appropriate road and executing towards their motivation. So,
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people just on bandwagons now.
mhm,
Okay, so Shirley started a business. So Tamika said that she gonna start her business next, and then here come Frank and John. They
mhm,
starting their business. It's like everybody want to start a business. Not saying I'm not speaking against anybody who has a vision and a dream, and if
mhm,
God, whoever you believe in, told you that is something that is a part of your purpose, then by all means do that. But I'm
mhm,
talking about monkey see, monkey do. Don't just go and do because somebody else is doing because
mhm.
not everybody is business minded.
No, no,
So what would you
it's
tell somebody who is starting a business for the wrong reasons? Like I know we just said know your why, but what would you
right.
tell them other
Then
than that?
this is the part where it is the harsh reality becomes a part of the entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between an entrepreneur and a entrepreneur. Big difference.
Go ahead, David.
So when you're an entrepreneur, you live this, you breathe this, excuse my language, you shit this.
Mm.
So every single time you go to bed, every single time you wake up, every single time you walk, wherever you walk into, even when you're working out, it's a part of you. So you can't fake something that's a part of you. You think Kobe Bryant faked being who he was? He's who
No,
he was. He's who he was to the very end.
mamba
So
mentality. Mhm.
when people go out here and say, you know what, I'm going to do it because they did it. Their motivation is them, not because they want to succeed in what they want to do. They want to do it because they did it.
Yeah.
So why are you going to fake the funk to the point to where it is you're going to find yourself in a hole? Those
Yes.
entrepreneurs are the first people to go up and go under
Hmm.
because they don't know how to maintain. They don't know how to manage. Because if you're an entrepreneur and you really want to be a businesswoman or a businessman, you're going to look at how you got that business started, where it's going, and how you can replicate that.
Right.
Well, entrepreneurs just want to do it for the moment. So they
Hmm.
only
Just
just want to
say they
say,
did.
hey, I did it too. I did
Hmm.
it too. See,
Hmm.
I got it done just like you. But what does that mean in the grand scheme of things if you can't maintain it? If
Right.
you think 1 year of success is success, then what's going to happen year 5 if you get
Right.
to year 5?
If you get to year 5, right.
You got to make it out of year 1. You got to make it out of, year 2 if you can get that far, you know. But knowing the difference between an entrepreneur and a entrepreneur, they got to do some self-analysis and say, hey, am I really cut out for this? Because a lot of them, like, you know what, instead of me working as much as those guys do, I'd rather go work my 40 hours and be done and be at home on a weekend with my kids. So, you know,
Okay. So Envy Soul said, wouldn't you say all entrepreneurs started from a want? It was something they wanted to try.
well, you can want to try it. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's, do you want to try it for what reason? That's how the conversation started. It's like, if this other person is doing it, they want to do it because that other person is doing it, not because they really want to be in that position. So it's for the people that want to own their own business, there's a passion to that. Entrepreneurs are passionate about what? Risk taking. And
Yeah.
they take those risks because they know that that's where they want to be. It doesn't matter what the risk is. They don't care about the reward. They want to be in a position to do something that they love. And most entrepreneurs connect with that stuff because they love it. They love
Yeah.
business. They love taking that risk. They're addicted to it.
Right. She said,
The,
no
the,
one knows their business would be successful without attempting it first.
well,
I mean,
no
that's
one.
that's absolutely right. But I guess she's asked you to explain a little bit more about the entrepreneurs versus the entrepreneurs. And I get
Okay.
it. I think you want to be an entrepreneur, but
Mhm.
some people want to do it because somebody else did it.
Right.
They don't have the heart for it. They don't have the passion for it. They don't have the desire for it. They just want to do it because nothing is ever good enough for them.
Right.
You
So
know.
what separates the two is the passion. The passion of an entrepreneur is undeniable. You can tell how passionate they are. You can tell how serious they are, how sincere they are about what they're getting into. With a entrepreneur, yeah, they only want to do it for the moment because either they just want to make the money, or they just see that their friend can do it, they can do it too. Now, everybody that has, for example, if I had to be like frank about it, everybody that's doing the Amazon businesses or the eBay businesses, they heard about it from their friend, but they don't really have any passion about it, but they want to do it because they see that there's money in it.
Mm.
But how do you
By money.
maintain it?
Driven
Because you're
by money versus being driven by purpose.
exactly.
Okay, like that.
So when you have you know a situation where it is nothing's guaranteed, entrepreneurs is going to push through it. If one thing don't work, they're going to go to the next and keep pushing through it until they find that one thing and find their stride, and they're able to start 1 to 12 businesses that's going to be successful. Entrepreneurs are going to give up after the first shot, and if it fails, they're done with it. They're not going to even touch it again.
Oh, that's a good question. Do you believe someone's passion could just be money?
Yeah, Donald Trump. So,
Wow, great answer.
so at the end of the day, some people's, their wants is tied to money. So if
Oh,
you're passionate enough about just getting money, you don't care about anything else. You gotta be, hey, that's a part of your conviction.
Yes.
So when you build a team around you, and you have the mindset of building a team, put all those people in the place to work, just get your money for you. That's the way it works. You're not going to care about it.
A drug dealer. Prime
So
example.
drug dealers look. They're passionate about putting food on the table by any means necessary. They're not
Any
going to
means
make
necessary.
because when it's all said and done, they're motivated by one thing: family.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that could be behind that want, but if you kind of disconnected like Donald Trump, you probably I'm gonna stop saying Donald Trump. Okay.
Listen, you kicking it with KeKe. You allowed to say it. You can
so
say it. We ain't worrying about him no way. Anyway,
so
country soul said not everyone want to be successful. Some people are happy just making ends meet. That is so true, and
that
that
is.
right there. I believe that separates the entrepreneurs versus the entrepreneurs. Some
Mm-hmm.
people just want to make ends meet versus being successful.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. Or you go into your daily job that's putting food on the table and you giving it your all because you have an expectation of promotion or
Right.
making more
Mm-hmm.
or getting to a better place, another place. You leveling up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Envy Soul said there are a lot of entrepreneurs who just had the desire to make money. That was their passions and became successful entrepreneurs by chasing that money.
Well, I mean, but do we know that that's the case? Like for sure, because a lot of people they put books out and the books say the opposite of what you said. Well, oh yeah, I had to work so hard. I was worried about my kids, but maybe they got some great writers. We don't know their stories all the way through. A lot of people don't want to let their passion be known. For one of the biggest risk takers that we know in history, we're probably using their device right now, is Steve Jobs. You didn't know what his passion was.
Yeah.
We had no idea what his passion was. He didn't even leave money to his children. It wasn't because he wanted to be the best tech guy. It's just because he knew he was the best tech guy. And he knew he had something that everybody wanted.
Right.
So maybe that was the passion. Like, hey, I want to give the world something. Like Bill Gates, he's not giving his kids anything. He wants to give the world things.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's passion is different. Everybody's connection is different. But my biggest thing is like how I dissect the entrepreneurs versus the entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs just see what everybody else is doing and they want to do it because they did it,
Mm.
not because they're passionate about it. They want to prove to that, hey, I can do it too. They want the attention of doing it more so than the actual success after it's done.
Right.
So that's why I kind of like pick on the people that just want to do it for all the wrong reasons. Entrepreneurs,
And that goes back to what's your why? Why do you
yeah.
want to do this? And it has different levels to it, and you have to break it down to they become so grounded in the passion of why they want to
Mm-hmm.
do what they want to do. There's no excuse not to do it. But you got
Mm-hmm.
to get to the bottom of that as first. As a life coach, that's one of the first questions that I ask. Why do you feel that you need life coaching? What is your purpose? What
Mm-hmm.
do you hope to attain from this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the end goal for you? Those are prerequisite questions
Mm-hmm.
before we even go into anything else, because I don't want you to waste your time and I'm not gonna waste mine because we may not be a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
we in business and we have to look at that as well, because yeah, we have the right to refuse service, but at the same time you have to, choose your battles and know what's important versus what's not important, and
Mm-hmm.
have control over the things that you can control and let the things that don't fall wherever they may.
Right. Yeah. That's that part where it's really, really important to disconnect, from the things that's not important to you. Some people get caught up in things that just sounds good, feel good, and is good for the moment, and kind of get stuck there. And when it doesn't work for anybody anymore, then they're kind of like, what do I do now?
Right.
So,
Yeah, what do I do now? And Megan said mostly they just got lucky or inherited money. I mean, and that can be argued because not
Donald
everybody
Trump.
that's been left money want to become an entrepreneur. They just want to live
Exactly.
off that money and just do life.
Exactly. It's like, how do you not end up broke again after you inherited that? You give it to somebody else, let them maintain it for you. That's just one of those things where you don't have to do no real work. You let the money work for you. If you're lucky enough to have money in place and the wits about you just to let somebody else manage the money for you, then you're good to go. They'll put your money wherever you want it to be or wherever they think it should be and keep you afloat because they need a job too.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we can expect the book by the end of the year, right?
Yep. Yep.
Right. Country Soul said motivation promotes passion. Some people just need someone to push them into their purpose, which sometimes become their passion. Yeah, and David elaborated on that a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. You
Yep.
have to have that push. You have to
Yep.
have mentorship. That's the mentorship that's wanting to push you versus
Mm-hmm.
the what we said, the leadership that have to do it. It's it's kind of like bittersweet because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, at the end of the day, everybody that's a leader, they're either a natural leader or they want to be a leader in some
Right.
capacity. But mentors, I believe that they are on a whole nother level when it comes to leadership
Mm-hmm.
quality because they have a zeal for helping people and getting someone with the ability of changing their mindset versus that, oh, I just got to be at this job, so this is what I'm gonna give to you and nothing more.
Right. Yeah, and that's the purpose. And that's the beauty of having somebody around that you can count on to mentor you through those things because they help you find your why if you don't even know what it is. I mean, there's some people out here that's truly like lost. They don't have any idea what to do, and they've been in that position, and now they're in a position where it is they need to get some help. And that's where it's important to surround yourself with people or find people that you can surround yourself with or a person that can help you, stay motivated because your circle speaks volumes, you
Right.
know.
And Envy Soul said, because I don't know my why, know my purpose or
Mm,
know my why, isn't that why I need a coach? I mean, no, I don't agree with that because my clients come to me and they have an idea of what they're looking for. I'm a
mm,
mindset and a profession, I mean a personal growth coach. So they know an area that needs to be met. They
right.
either trying to grow personally in a positive way or they're trying to get their mindset on a whole nother level to
Mm,
elevate. So I believe that everybody can tap into their purpose by getting a coach or a mentor, but that shouldn't be your main reason why
right.
of trying to seek a mentor or a coach. And mentors, they'll pour into you and figure out, okay, let me see what Johnny like to do. And Johnny might like to, do magic.
Mm,
Okay, well, let's see how good he is at magic. And if Johnny is like the next David Copperfield, that mentor and that coach gonna make sure that they do everything in their power to get Johnny to believe in himself enough to get to the next level of monetizing that purpose and that passion.
mm,
Versus the leader is like, okay, Johnny, I'm gonna show you this. If you can't master that, this is where we at.
right.
We know that you can't elevate. I'm not gonna push you to elevate.
Right.
So this is where you're at. This is all you got.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I get that. And Megan said, not to complicate things more, but specifically black men in leadership is a whole conversation. Younger black boys and teens don't get a lot of positive portrayals of folks that look like them. I mean, and that goes back to being a mentor versus a leader because you have to have a want and a will to pour into somebody.
Right.
And if you don't have that, it's gonna show, and it'll do more hurt than harm, more hurt than help to the person that's looking up to you. Because our little black boys and girls, they need someone to motivate them, to pour into them, to speak life into them, because
Mm,
it's a stigma. And I don't know, and I'm not saying that everybody has that type of mentality, but it's the mindset. It goes back to the mindset. You have to be willing to sit and listen and talk to these young boys and young men
mm,
or young girls and young ladies and teach them stuff that that they weren't taught and are things that you weren't taught. And
right.
a lot of people get stuck into that, oh, that's just how I was raised or that's how I grew up. No,
Mm,
that's a cop out to me, because if you were raised in a household where communication was lax, you should want to be in a better position with your family or surround yourself with people who can start a conversation. That's just how I feel about it.
yeah, because it's easier to say that, I got here because of how I grew up. That's the easy way of getting out of that situation. And when people get caught up in those type of comforts of what they've been through, is they kind of get sucked into a vortex where they can't get out of it, and they only make excuses. I'm only a piece of shit because my dad.
Yeah.
What?
Nope. And that's the
you
thing.
know?
And that should be the thing. Stop making excuses. If
Yeah.
your
I
daddy was
mean,
a piece of shit, why would you want to be that?
exactly. And the thing is that you have 101 options to look at. You can gravitate towards Jay-Z, or you can gravitate towards Martin Luther King. You got a lot of options. It just don't stop with like the person that's right there in front of you. You may have a great grandfather that's a great example that you can build on from there. We have options. It's not that we don't have the options. It's just that some of us just choose not to accept them, because we rather be a victim of circumstance than a victim of, sorry, not a victim of anything other than circumstance. But, you got to put yourself in a position to think outside the box. That's where the issue is that when you get so comfortable being in that box, the hard work is outside that box.
Right.
And that's what scares people. It's like it's easier for me to fall in love with what I've already been through than me recreating, a different path for myself and doing something different.
Right.
So I don't fall in love with the excuses. I can care less about them. I know how I was brought up. I knew what I, came around. And for me, I just wanted better for myself. And when my daughter was born, I wanted better for her. And when my son was born, I want better for him. So, it's just.
It goes back to being able to apply what you learned and
Mm-hmm.
be the leader for your children. And a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that we don't have people, out there that does that. Because Megan said it's an extra burden on Black men, and that's not fair. But that's how society is. And Envy Soul says some people can elevate, but maybe it takes a different mentor or a different type of leader to get them to that point. Absolutely. You have to find somebody who fits with you, because not everybody's going to gel well together. And it's okay to say, hey, Christian is not really being susceptible or receptive to the things that I am saying to him. Let's see if you, Isaiah, can help him out a little bit. I'll go work with Shirley again. It takes a village. It does. It takes a village. Like country soul said, there's a lot of positive Black men and females. It takes a village. We have to do our individual parts to help shine light on these individuals. Absolutely. People can learn from people they don't know. He said people can't learn from people they don't know.
Exactly.
I believe that you can learn from people that you don't know to a certain extent.
Well,
because go ahead.
I think he's saying that, until we shine a light on them, you never know that they exist.
Right.
So you can't learn anything if you don't know that they exist. So, and that's the biggest problem, is that when it comes to, what we share on the internet, we rather share the crate challenge than share people like you.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's the problem. It's like, we shared all the wrong stuff.
Listen, I cannot share the link to my blog on this platform or Facebook, because they said that they said over 100 and something people reported it as vulgar content. What's so vulgar about it?
That's all my content.
I mean, but it's a lot. It's whenever you get the conversation started about change and wanting better for our community or just our individual selves collectively, the narrative change in households. So we stop playing the victim and we become victorious. So they don't want that out there. As long as you showing fights on what's Shade Room or whoever, media takeout, as long as you're showing fights and all this kind of stuff, they'll play that all day long. It's in circulation. But as soon as you start talking about ways to better ourselves, to become more educated, to start conversations within our community that will change the narrative on how we treat each other.
I mean, look, I literally had a whole movement against me multiple times, like over the last few years, because I had a hoodie that of a brand that I own. It said "Hustle over hate,"
Mm.
and they wanted me to blur it out and all that other crazy stuff. Oh, you can't use that. I'm like, why not? Why not? I mean, I
Because
think that
they
it
have the
stands.
wrong type of definition tied to the
Mm,
word hustle.
mm, yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm from Detroit. That's all I know how to do. you know, that's I've been I haven't been taught this. This is what I brought myself into. I can say that, humbly, that one of the greater teachers that I've had was myself. Because, I was willing to do something that nobody else wanted to sit down and do with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I start opening up my mind to different things, and I'm seeing these teachers that don't even know that they're my teacher now, it's from the Gary V's all the way down to, you know, you know, even Dave Chappelle, stuff like that. You can learn a lot from just the people that's in front of you, because at the end of the day, how did they get to where they are? And I think one of the greatest stories, amongst the African American men is Dave Chappelle. What he went through in the industry, and sat on it for 15 years. And he came back winning. He lost a
Right.
little money just to make. He lost $50 million just to come back and make $500 million. So what does that say?
And because he didn't let them break his mentality. He stayed with
Exactly.
the mindset to teach and educate other people who may be experiencing the same thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want you to go through what I went through. Make sure you
Right.
look at the contracts. Make sure you get a
Mm-hmm.
team of people that's going to push you to be your best self. No, don't just have yes people around you.
Exactly.
Don't have people saying, "Hey, sign on the dotted line," without saying, "Hey, I think you need to sit down, take a breath, read this. Let's go through it and figure it out together."
Right.
Because so many people get sucked into contracts and they
Yeah.
done sold they sold for, they don't know that, because it's a running thing. Like, if you don't want a black person to know something, put it
Mm-hmm.
in a book. I don't agree with that at all. I
And that's
think that,
why
go ahead.
that's why a third of the music industry don't like me. I don't do much in it anymore, but it's a lot of people I know in that industry, the entertainment industry. I'll read contracts, for a lot of people that, we all know. And I'm like, yeah, you probably want to have them change this out right here.
Mm-hmm.
Because, 360s is 360s and all that other stuff. When you read into that stuff and you see how they got these guys nowadays, it's just because they just want to be in a better position, versus knowing that having the knowledge to be in the best position matters overall.
Right.
So sometimes our personal positions cause us to make terrible decisions, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and we got to be able to rise above that.
Right. But you have to want to read those contracts. You have to
Mm-hmm.
want to learn those hard terms, or get that business manager or accountant or
Mm-hmm.
attorney and all of that. You have to have a team of people that's going to pour into you in a positive way, because we
Exactly.
hear, we hear about individuals getting ripped off every day, like, where
Every
my
single
money?
day. Mm-hmm.
And we hate to circle it back around money, but who wants to become an entrepreneur, build a brand, build a business, and then your money gets stolen by somebody that you trust?
Right. And
That
that's and
doesn't.
that's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. I have a very, very small circle, because I'm real careful about who I deal with and who I trust. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, they can pretend to be in your corner,
Mm-hmm.
but when they really start seeing that you're doing things differently and you really starting to win, and you find yourself in a position where they want to be, or they never expected you to be, then you have to deal with the most dangerous thing is envy.
Yes.
Jealousy is from a distance. Envy is right next to you. So jealousy can be right down the block. You know, they can't touch you. But a person that's envious is most likely in your circle.
Circle.
So you got to watch those people, because they'll stab you in the back faster than the people that'll shoot you in the face.
Absolutely.
So,
And
and
that Word. Somebody said, preach, sir. That right there is a word. So, besides your book, what's next
Mhm.
for you? Like, tell us a
Well,
little bit about. I know you did a webinar the other day. Can
mhm.
you tell the audience a little bit about what type of webinars or training and motivational speaking and things like that that you have going on?
So I'm gonna do more, speaking events, so I've been getting things booked, so I can get on the road and start doing things throughout the country. But right now, my biggest thing that I want to focus on is like giving, tools that people need to them. Like for example, I have a simplified business startup, webinar. That if you go to my page, you'll see it. You click on it, you learn how to start a business, you know, in the simplest way possible. Because you got a lot of these coaches that, oh yeah, click on this and 997 to learn how to fuck
Yeah.
yourself over, you know, how to
Yes.
spend more money. I'm not that guy. I'm directly to the point. When it comes down to get given knowledge, I believe what you put out in the universe, you'll get back. So I just tell people to pay it forward. If you know something, share it. Because there's no such thing as, oh well, if I share with this person, then they can potentially put me out of business. No, if you focus on you and you practice what you've already taught them, you'll be good to go. So
Right.
that's one. That's one of the seminars. Well, sorry, one of the webinars that I have is teach people how to start a business. Number one. Number two is teaching people how to start an Airbnb business with or without a property. That's a simplified process that I can go over with anybody in about 30 minutes. So those are the type of things that I want to give, as far as those classes, and give people the ability to, find that financial freedom, because that's what it comes down to, you know, just putting yourself in a position to succeed and, build towards, generational wealth.
Absolutely.
And I tell people that you gotta research generational wealth, how you get to it, financial literacy, things like that. I post stuff every single day, whether it's something about relationships or, you know, financial freedom. The different things that you should do to get to it. So that's my focus right now. I'm gonna give what I can, through motivational speaking and in my webinars and classes and things like that. But yeah, if anybody ever got a question about anything, just come to my page, David D Young underscore senior, or just email me at booking.daviddyoung@gmail.com. And I'm pretty good about reading everything and getting back to everybody when I can, and try to give what I can to those that's really serious about it. No knocking on entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm just saying
Right.
I don't want to be you.
Okay, so, Megan said, I feel like advocacy is also a big part with mentorship, like a big picture. Okay. Yeah, I believe so. You have to be an advocate for it. You have
Right.
to. You have to have a will for that or want for that, I should say, because not everybody is supposed to be a mentor. And
Right.
a lot of people that are looked at as mentors are not.
No, I mean, because see, I would never claim to be a mentor. I would never claim it because it's such a huge, huge, huge responsibility, because you got to be careful. Like it's like with your own kids, you got to be careful what you put into your kids, because you can shape their future. You can shape their mentality just by what you just say to them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And you want to be, really, really careful with that, because a lot of people, they put the wrong stuff out there and just screw people up, you know. And I do what I can from a mentor standpoint. So
Envy, so what qualifies someone to be a mentor?
positivity. No, well, that's just me being a jerk. But what qualifies a person to be a great mentor is a person that's passionate about human and human interaction. And what I mean by that is you got to be passionate about the people that you work with. You got to be passionate about helping people. Mentorship, you give a lot of yourself to that situation because you really want to see that person win.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't want to see a person win. It's just the fact that when you find yourself so attached to it, then it takes a lot of time off your table, off your project, because your energy and your time goes into that individual, making sure they get from point A to point B. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just that if that's who you are, that's where you belong, you know. And it's all about the mindset. So you have to want to have that connection, want to build that, because when it's all said and done, to them, you're not only a mentor, you could be their best friend.
Right.
And you got to be prepared for that responsibility.
Mm-hmm. You could be their positive outlet because they're not getting it at home.
Exactly.
So,
Man, and when I tell you, when the lack of positive outlets for men, man, most of these men talk to each other and share bad advice. But
you gonna get in trouble. Listen, but she said she agreed with your statement when you said
right.
positivity. Country soul, be able to face adversity and overcome it successfully. You can't help someone else if you are jacked up yourself. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And there's so many people that take on the title of coach or mentor or role model that's jacked up and like
my therapist
people.
needs a therapist.
Oh,
That's funny.
but the thing about a therapist, that you have to have some type of certification or degree. You
Right.
don't really need that to be a mentor or a coach. I mean,
right.
I have my life coaching certification, but you don't have to have that to say that you're a coach. You
right.
create something that you good at doing, and you put it out there, and people catch on to it. They might like you for what you're saying or the content that you're sharing. That doesn't mean that you're qualified to do that.
Right.
So you have to have that mentality. You have to have the integrity. You have to have the empathy, and you have to want to be a positive light in someone's life versus just trying to scam. Because we have scammers every day in our inbox.
Yep. And the thing is, it's like with those people that's genuine about that, like being life coaches and mentors and stuff, the most important thing for them to maintain their connection with anybody is to, self-care is really, really important. If you can't take care of yourself, make yourself feel good, how can you make somebody else feel good? They don't know what's happening to me behind the closed doors with you. But I tell anybody that's a life coach, mentor, you got to get out and you got to take care of you so you can keep feeding that positive energy out there, because people connect with that. They feed off of that. They feed off your vibrations and your frequency. So you got to make sure you maintain that the best way you can. And the only way you can do that is through self-care.
Right. And Envy Soul said, perfect example is an AA sponsor. How can you help someone overcome addiction if you can't relate to what they are dealing with? Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why me and my ex aren't together anymore.
Listen, some things are just toxic and they just have their time and place, and it's
Maybe if I would have
people
drank
to go
more.
from over there.
I'm joking.
What you said? I didn't hear you.
I said maybe if I would have drank more. I'm joking.
We do not condone the spirit, the drinking.
We do not.
We do not. But if that's what you do, then hey, it did not come from KeKe or David. We putting that out there right now. Disclaimer. For real. But yeah, I love that. I love that. That was a perfect example, because I'm a firm believer. He said, please elaborate. He said, please elaborate. Look, you free to say what you want to say, but mom's on here and sis on here, so.
Oh, they know I'm going to say what I want to say anyway.
I know.
Use all the capital letters y'all want.
Yes. Yes. So with the book coming and everything else, what is something like a takeaway message that you would want to leave our audience with tonight when it comes to learning, applying, and leading in your life, whether any aspect of your life, not just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, but just being a better person, leveling up to be the best you that you could be.
You got to want it. You have to want to be better. You have to want to, grow. Evolution is the most important thing. You don't want to ever stay in the same place. Stagnant leads to death. So if you're not growing, you're dying. So you got to find a way to grow.
If you're Not growing, you're dying. Love that. That's a great mentality to have,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're not doing something to educate yourself or challenge yourself on a daily day basis, then you are doing yourself a disservice, because you do have people watching. We always have people watching. We may not see them and know that they're there, but they're always there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep,
I,
absolutely.
I love that. Uh, Country Soul said, if I can't get high off your love, then I'm gonna elevate without you.
Absolutely.
I'm trying
Gotta
to be
go.
good, keep my gaps and feelings to myself.
Bye, Megan.
So if we don't want to get you in trouble, it has been a great conversation with you tonight, David. Thank you for kicking it with me. I appreciate you being a guest on my show. I would definitely have you back for the podcast. We recording the podcast of episode over here, but we was having some technical issues, so we'll do that another day. I'll get with you and see what works for you, because it
All
doesn't
right.
have to be nighttime or anything like that, and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
And maybe we can talk about another topic, because that entrepreneurship versus entrepreneurship, I love that.
Yeah.
You need to go ahead and put that on a t-shirt and sell
Yeah.
it. But I thank you guys for tuning in this week. I am here every Monday night. Although we had some technical difficulties with Instagram and Facebook today, we made it happen. We made it happen.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I am going to be moving around to different platforms, because we cannot have a shutdown that will cause us to go silent. We have to
Right.
have our voice and use our platform to let other voices like yours, David, to be
Mm-hmm.
heard, because people, I hope that you said something, I know that you did, that will resonate with someone that would watch the replay, or
Mm-hmm.
and just take it and apply it to their lives, or pour it into someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
that said, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Make sure you love on someone, but love on yourself. Until next time, you guys be great. I'll see you back Monday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Y'all have a great week. Good night.
All right. Bye.